Did you know that in 2001, Randy Savage donated $10,000 to a children's hospital because Hulk Hogan wouldn't have a real fight with him? Welcome to Hey Wimp, I'm Scarlett, and in today's challenge, we'll be examining the career of the cream of the crop himself, the Macho Man, Randy Savage. So grab a box of Slim Jims and let's snap into the challenge. What poetry aficionado and real-life brother of the Macho Man also had a career in both the WWF and WCW? Lanny Poffo. Leaping Lanny Poffo worked in the World Wrestling Federation from 1985 to 1992, reciting short pre-match poems about his opponents. He hit his stride in 1989 when he was rebranded as the Genius, at one point even achieving a rare victory over Hulk Hogan. Savage reportedly earned his nickname Macho Man during his younger days as a baseball player. How did he earn it? Fighting with another player. Savage was struck in the head by a warm-up pitch, after which he charged the mound and attacked the pitcher. A reporter mentioned that Savage was acting like some kind of Macho Man. Soon, signs appeared in the outfield saying, "Hit it here, Macho Man." During his baseball career, Savage began working as a wrestler, wearing a mask to hide his identity. What was the name of his masked character? The Spider. Savage began his wrestling career during baseball's off-seasons, wrestling under a mask as the Spider. It was a superhero gimmick that kept his identity secret from baseball players and league management. On July 30th, 1985, whom did Randy Savage select to be his manager shortly after debuting in the World Wrestling Federation? Miss Elizabeth. Surrounded in the ring by male managers, all of whom were vying to partner with the Macho Man, Savage announced that he would be managed by Miss Elizabeth, whom he had recently married, although their marriage was not initially part of Savage's storyline. In 1987, what superstar defeated Randy Savage at WrestleMania 3 in what many consider to be the greatest match of all time? Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Steamboat beat Savage at WrestleMania 3 in front of a reported 93,173 fans. The match was the culmination of a 6-month rivalry between Savage and Steamboat and ended when Steamboat rolled up Savage in a small package. The match is universally praised as a timeless classic. What fashion designer, known for his work with Jimi Hendrix and Bob Dylan, worked with Savage to develop his one-of-a-kind outfits? Michael Braun. Braun was responsible for evolving Savage's ring gear and outfits in the late 80s. Savage gave Braun full creative control over his look, which evolved to the custom-fringed leather jackets and cowboy hats Savage wore later in his career. What was the name of the tag team that Savage formed in October of 1987 with then World Wrestling Federation champion Hulk Hogan? The Mega Powers. Savage turned babyface while defending Miss Elizabeth from the Honky Tonk Man, who then smashed Savage over the head with his guitar. Hogan ran out to make the save, and the former enemies dramatically shook hands, forming the alliance. What was special about the circumstances under which Savage won his first World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 4? He won a tournament. Savage won the vacated WWF title at WrestleMania 4, wrestling in 4 separate matches against the Natural Butch Reed, Greg the Hammer Valentine, and the One Man Gang. In the finals, he defeated Ted DiBiase with a flying elbow drop for the title. Who was the special guest referee at SummerSlam 88, officiating in the main event as the Mega Powers faced off against the Mega Bucks? Jesse the Body Ventura. Ventura spent the weeks-long build-up to the match bragging about his selection due to his impartiality. However, it quickly became apparent that he had been paid off by the Megabucks. The match ended with Ventura hesitating to perform the final 3 count, leading to Savage grabbing his arm and slamming it to the mat for the pinfall. What was the storyline reason for Randy Savage turning heel in 1989, leading to his World Championship match with Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania? Hogan's lust for Elizabeth. On February 3, 1989, Savage turned heel on Hulk Hogan during a live broadcast of the main event on NBC, seen by over 20 million viewers. Savage slapped Hogan as Hogan attempted to tag him in, later telling him backstage, "Those eyes right there. Those eyes lust Elizabeth, you understand that? You got lust for Elizabeth right there, and I'm gonna tell you it makes me sick. I can't even stand to look at you." Well, halfway there. How are you doing so far? If you're enjoying this challenge, be sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell to be the first to know about new challenges as soon as they're available. Thanks so much for being a part of our journey. Now, let's dive back into the challenge. Savage's 1991 rivalry with the Ultimate Warrior led to a retirement match at WrestleMania 7, which Savage lost. What notable post-match event took place? Savage's reunion with Miss Elizabeth. Queen Sherry began physically assaulting a beaten Savage, leading to Miss Elizabeth, who was sitting at ringside, running to the ring and pulling Sherry off of him. Afterwards, Savage and Elizabeth stood across the ring from one another, and after a tense moment, the two reunited with an embrace. The reunion moved several fans in the audience to tears. Jake the Snake Roberts had his Cobra bite a defenseless Savage as part of their televised 1991 feud. What unscripted aspect of the segment made it particularly memorable? The Cobra wouldn't let go. The Cobra latched onto Savage's arm more aggressively than anticipated and refused to let go. Jake Roberts, in front of the capacity crowd, had to physically pry the snake's mouth open and remove it from Savage's bleeding arm while attempting to stay in character. Who attacked Savage and stole his iconic cowboy hat during a January 1993 episode of Monday Night Raw? Repo Man. Repo Man attacked Savage from behind, knocking him to the ground during the opening of Monday Night Raw, repossessing one of Savage's Michael Braun cowboy hats. The reason Repo Man gave for the theft was that Savage never paid any attention to him. In May of 1994, Savage participated in Smoky Mountain Wrestling's Volunteer Slam 3, during which he lost clean via pinfall to whom? Bruiser Bedlam. Savage, already committed to appear at the event, proposed to Jim Cornette that since he was only in town for 3 days, it made sense for him to put over Bedlam, who was Cornette's biggest heel. Following interference from Dory Funk, Bedlam got the pinfall victory. What primarily compelled Randy Savage to leave the World Wrestling Federation for World Championship Wrestling in late 1994? He wasn't ready to retire. Since his kayfabe retirement at WrestleMania 7, Savage had been largely relegated to commentary duties. The WWF was marketing a youth movement and saw more value in Savage as a color commentator. Savage, feeling differently, chose to seek his fortunes in WCW. Former WCW executive Eric Bischoff often tells the story of how Savage's first contract cost WCW nothing. How is this possible? Savage's Slim Jim contract. Savage's contract as a spokesperson for Slim Jim was independent of his deal with the WWF. WCW offered Savage $750,000 per year, which was the same amount of money Slim Jim paid WCW to annually advertise on WCW programming. In the late 90s, Savage made the decision as part of his transition to WCW to purchase the rights to what classic wrestling gimmick? Gorgeous George. Savage purchased the rights to Gorgeous George, ostensibly to assign the gimmick to his brother, Lanny Poffo, who was signed to a lucrative WCW contract but never appeared on TV. Savage then made the decision to give the name to his girlfriend and valet, Stephanie Bellers. In December of 2001, in response to disrespectful comments Hogan had made about him on the radio, Savage challenged Hulk Hogan to a real fight, with all proceeds to go where? Children's Hospital. Savage challenged Hogan to fight him in a real professional wrestling match, with all proceeds to benefit the Children's Hospital of St. Petersburg, Florida. When Hogan failed to respond, Savage donated $10,000 to the hospital in the name of the Hulk Hogan Coward Fund. In April of 2002, Savage appeared in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man film where he faced the nascent web-slinger in a steel cage match. What was his character's name? Bonesaw McGraw. Savage portrayed Bonesaw McGraw, a wrestler who engaged in 3-minute challenges with upstart wrestlers. While filming the finish to the match, Savage landed hard on his neck and suffered a legitimate injury that signaled the end of his in-ring career. In 2003, while promoting his Be a Man rap album, Savage did a series of interviews as his bodyguard stood with him. What name did Savage give this bodyguard? DJ Gorgeous George. During promotional and shoot interviews for Be a Man, Savage was accompanied by a large bodyguard wearing a MachoMan.com t-shirt. Savage would frequently turn to the bodyguard and say, "You know what I'm talking about, Gorgeous George?" as Savage still held the rights to the Gorgeous George name. He was evidently still trying to get some mileage out of it. Hey guys, thanks for watching. How did you do? Let us know in the comments down below. Send us your suggestions on future trivia topics that you'd like to see. There's lots more to come, so be sure to hit that subscribe button to join our community and ring the bell to be notified of future content. I'm Scarlett. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you back soon, right here at Hey Wimp.